Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello. All right, just letting people in. All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, I was in on your session yesterday. You did a dynamite job.
I was like, oh my God, I can't look at all these little pictures looking at me.
Yeah, it's a little different than like 10 kids at a time or something, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was a lot. So I was like, oh, okay, we'll
Well, and
see
you're
how it
the one,
goes.
like, all the questions, everybody was like, so tell me more about Mitcha.
I know. Thank you for putting the handle up there. I was like, I can't even look at anything right now.
Yeah, well, and then somebody else put the wrong one and everybody was like, thanks. I was like, no, like.
Oh no. Darn it.
Well, we have another slow to start morning, it looks like here. So we've got 8 people in here.
It's okay.
Low, disappointing. I just finished up revising, or not revising, looking at all of their OSAC personal statements. So that's what
Oh, cool.
talking about tomorrow is like revising, and then it opens up on next week. So we're gonna start that.
Yeah. I'm also gonna share like a couple of scholarships. Well, there's one specifically that I want to talk about, which is the For Family Foundation. And so that one opens up next week too. And it used to be an OSAC, but it's no longer. Like they're doing their own thing now.
Right.
And so I want to make sure the students know about it because it's actually a very amazing scholarship. If they get it, they're set. They can go anywhere.
Right. There's another one that we looked at that like has a really close relationship with University of Texas, but also they accept other people, but it was like a full ride with support throughout all 4 years. So we're talking about scholarships every day, huh, guys?
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah. And hopefully they are, following the AVID Instagram page because I am also putting scholarships out there. There's just so many, but like I'm trying to highlight the ones that I feel like, a lot of our students could apply to. So I'm gonna be posting a couple of them today.
Good. Yeah, I try and follow up with those. Whenever you post them, I always like work them into our class somehow. So
Oh, good. Well, I'll be posting some today.
Right.
And then the to-do list for November. November is exciting.
Yep. Well, we're up to 11 people. I don't know how much longer we want to wait, or if folks have any questions for Ms. Perez to start.
Yeah, before I start.
Yeah.
Let me put this here. Let's see.
Just so you know, everybody, Ms. Perez presented to like over 100 people yesterday in our district talking about Mecha and all the work that she's done and the district is doing around that. And she did an amazing job. So round of applause to you.
Thank you. I am really exhausted, you guys. I've been like in Zoom meetings for so many days and then we have, college information week happening. So I'm also part of that. And I've been working every night. So I'm really hoping that some of you are going to the sessions.
They're required to go to at least one. So
oh, good.
Yeah.
Hopefully I went to the college one, the essay one. Mm-hmm. I mean, they all had really good information. So even the one, so this year I'm doing all the Spanish ones. So like the counselors at Beaverton, at least the ones that speak Spanish, were responsible to like setting up all the information for all the speakers and all the logistics for Information College Week in Spanish. So the other day we had someone from UC Berkeley. She talked about 4-year schools, and she was so amazing, you guys. Like, I wish more people could have listened to her story, to her her advice. It was really good.
And they're over and on YouTube now, right?
So some of them are gonna be in the English ones are all on YouTube. Ours are like Zoom webinar, but we're gonna put them into YouTube as well. And I believe they're gonna be put into the website where all the links are right now. So all the videos are gonna be put in there so everyone can have access to them.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but if you guys can actually go see her, she, again, I don't know, she took like the college information and made it more personable, and like she gave really, really good advice. And so it wasn't just kind of like, here are all this, numbers and very cold, like very formal. She was very warm, and I was like, oh,
Canada always
I
be
want to
like
go.
this.
I want to go to UC Berkeley just because of you. Um, All right, so let's see. Well, we have 15 now, so that's good. Good
Yeah.
morning, everyone. You guys are probably tired. I'm tired too, so I feel you. Okay, so let me see if I can, oh, Ms. Mathis needs to let me share my screen. So today, the topic is college admissions, information, and the application process. So a lot of you have already done some of the stuff, so you should feel fairly like, yes, I got this. If anything comes up, any questions, please let me know. Right now, I'm working with some of you that did their FAFSA and has an error. Please, like I mentioned before, like really, like you're not bothering me. Like I'd rather you do the FAFSA correctly the first time. Obviously, if you already submitted it and you're getting an email from FAFSA saying that you need to correct something, you need to do that, because if not, then your schools are not going to have the right information for you, and they're not going to process your FAFSA until you make those changes. But again, like I'm completely and ready to help you. I have emailed some of you saying like, send me your availability so I can work around it, so we can set up a meeting. I am here to help you. So please, please, please let me know how I can help you. And like I mentioned before, if in your gut, you're like, I think I have a question, I'm not really sure about this, just ask me. It is so much easier to like, again, like catch those errors before they happen than dealing with them once like it just takes so much more time and it's a little bit more stressful. So, but hopefully you guys can reach out, okay? All right, so let's start. Let me share my screen. Are you guys seeing the PowerPoint? Awesome. All right, so like I mentioned before, we're going to talk about college admissions info and the application process. Any questions that you have, please let me know. Put them in the chat. Ms. Mathis can help me with that, hopefully. So the first thing that I want to do is actually go to like Oregon Goes to College. It's a website that has actually very good information, and they can answer a lot of the questions that you probably have. So we're going to go to DAD right now. So as you can see, it has a lot of information up here. Today, we're going to go into the apply to college, which is already there. As you can see, some of the things that you should do beforehand is explore your options, which you guys already did. So you should check off that. Make a list of deadlines. Most of you have already done your deadlines, hopefully. So you already know when to apply and when it's going to be best for you. And so be prepared. So it says basically like visit the college websites, make a plan. Go see your admissions representatives if they're coming to Beaverton to do like a virtual visit. It's very important for them to have a face to you, because it is much easier to, if you get an email from someone and you're like, hey, I am from Beaverton, you were in my virtual session the other day, I asked this question, or whatever it is. Or you can be like, I'm an Avid. could you do this for me? It is much easier for someone to be like, yes, I am actually going to do something for someone that I have a face to than someone that I have no clue. And they do meet a lot of students. So it's always important for you to hopefully differentiate yourself. So always ask a question that is very specific. Or again, you can tell them like, I'm in the AVID program at Beaverton. And even that, it kind of like triggers the admissions person. Because again, you guys are very lucky to be in a program that for admissions and for colleges, they see you as like, oh my gosh, yes, like you are going to come to my school and you are going to make it. You're going to go all 4 years and you're going to get a degree because you guys have so many tools under your belt. So make sure that, again, when you guys go to the virtual visits, make a connection with that person, okay? Because they're going to help you throughout college application. All right, so again, all applications require personal information, academic transcripts. In regards of academic transcripts, so if some of you are applying to college through the common application, I will submit your transcripts. I will submit your mid-year report, and I will submit, your transcripts for that specific schools that you added to your common application. So that's why you have to submit my email and who's my recommender, because not only maybe I will be writing a letter for you, but I also submit other documentations in the common application for you. So if the school that you're applying to, it is not through the common application, then you're gonna go through Parchment, which is through the you can find that in the counseling page in Beaverton. So I'll show you that today too. Remind me if I forget. But that's where you're gonna go through to ask for your transcripts, okay? But again, if it's through the Common App, I will submit them. If the school is not in the Common Application or you're doing their own independent application that they have, then you are responsible sending the transcripts to them. Okay, so login and passwords. Make sure, I'm actually going to share a document with Ms. Mathis about where you can actually, it's a Google document where you can input all the login and passwords that you're going to have, because there's so many and you're going to be applying to so many scholarships that you need to keep track of them. And I have noticed some of you are keeping them in your automatic, like in your Chromebook, where it says like, remember my password, which is fine. But what happens if your Chromebook crashes and you don't have your passwords anymore? So like, don't just leave them somewhere. You should always have them as a backup somewhere else. So I'm going to share this form with Ms. Mathis, and all of you can have one, make a copy of it, and put all your usernames and passwords in that document. Some of the applications are going to require different things. Most of them are going to require like activities chart and resume. Don't don't sell yourself short. A lot of you are like, oh, well, only did one club, or maybe I did this, but you should put down like that you worked, that, if you have to take care of someone, did you have to translate documents? Did you have to help your parents with their business? Did you, like, anything and everything that you're doing extra that your peers don't do, you should put on that chart, because those are things that you're doing and that you're helping with. And yes, you might seem like, well, that's normal for me because that's what I do, right? Like, I don't know, when I was in high school, I was like translating documents, just like my parents to buy a house. I had no idea what I was doing. But anyways, you need to make sure that you put those skills into your activities chart, because you are doing those things, okay? So don't sell yourself short. College admissions tests. So obviously all of you have heard that most of the colleges, because of the pandemic, have gone test optional. So if a school is asking you like for the test scores, um, then I don't know. You should really think about like, is this a place where I want to go where they're not really caring about that there's a pandemic out there and that I might put myself at risk if I go to take a test, just so they can have this data of this test. I have a lot of opinions about ACT and SAT, but again, it's up to you if you want to apply to those schools that require them. But I just think like that's not really fair for them to ask you that right now, and you should really think about, is this a school that really represents who I am, and what I want to do in life? So anyway, so um, all of you, I think, took the ACT when you were a junior. So if you were there on ACT day, then you probably took it. Learn a little bit more about the scores, okay, about ACT, and really think about like, did I do my very best? Do I have a score that is competitive? Because if you don't, then don't send it. You have that option to make sure that you don't send the scores. Like it can work towards your advantage as well to not send them if you don't have a strong test score. All right, and some of them are going to ask you for personal statements or your essay. And for some applications too, if you don't have the GPA, they call it a holistic review. So your application goes through a holistic review where they're not only going to read your personal statement, but they're also going to ask you for letters of recommendations from your teachers, or from me, your counselor. And so they're going to go over into more in-depth information about like, was there something that happened, why you don't have the GPA that perhaps they require. And so some of them, again, since the beginning, are going to ask you for a personal statement or essay. Some of them, they're even are going to ask you for supplemental essays. So some of them ask you like, why do you want to come to blah, blah school? Or what is the most interesting thing that you have found in our website? They ask the most silly questions sometimes. But you have to check to see if they have any supplemental essays as well. And then also, again, they're going to have like residency information. Once you kind of have an idea where you want to go, you don't have to make a decision of if you get admitted to the schools that you are applying to, you don't have to tell them that you want to go to their school right away. You have until May 1st. So May 1st, usually kind of like the official date where you basically make your decision. And even by then, if you're like, well, I'm still waiting for some scholarships to see if they're going to come through, you can always ask for an extension. You can always ask to see if they can give you 2 weeks, a month for you to decide. So May 1st is kind of, again, like when you should decide, but if you're still waiting for more information, you could always ask if you can get an extension and you can let them know where you're going to go. And then at that point, when you have an idea where you're going to go, and if you're going to live on campus, then you need to do the residency information. Letters of recommendations. So not all colleges are going to require letters of recommendations. So most of the public schools are not going to require letters of recommendation. So if you're applying to Western or you're applying to PSU, even Oregon State, no, actually Oregon State does ask for an essay now. So Western, Southern, what else? Eastern, they're not going to ask you for letters of recommendation. So not all of them are going to ask you for that. So just double check, what the admission requirements are for that specific school that you're applying to. Now, application fee and deferrals and waivers. So what does that mean? So some schools, they actually will defer your payment. What deferment means is that eventually the school is going to take their money, like the $50 or $60 that they charge for their application fee, but they will do that until you have decided where to go. So for example, let's say I applied to Portland State, I've decided to go to Portland State, but they don't waive my fee. So they tell me, oh, okay, it's fine, we're gonna defer it, which means that if I decide to go to PSU, my first time when they get my financial aid, they will get that money from the application fee from my financial aid. So you don't have to come up with the money right away. Now, I get a lot of questions sometimes when they're like, the students are like, well, I'm applying to like 5 schools and they all said that they'll defer it. That's fine. You only have to decide one school, right? That's the only one school that you're going to go to. And let's say you decide to go to PSU out of all the other 4. So only PSU takes the money away from your financial aid. The other ones is just an investment to hopefully you go to their schools. So it's not like they're going to take away, $50 from each school that you apply to. No, it's only the school that you attend to. So that's what it means by deferral. And as you can see in the website right here, they actually have the Oregon Public Universities like fee deferral form. And then they also have colleges across the US, which is the NACAC fee waiver. And so I don't know if they already made these like PDF friendly for me to sign them, but we can figure out how we can, so where I can sign them and send them back to you so you can send them to the school. Because like it says here, many colleges accept a deferral or waiver, both of which must be signed by your high school counselor, which is me. So I have to sign those. So we can definitely figure out how I can sign them and then send them to you via email. And then, so I think the easiest thing will be, let me know if you need a fee waiver or a fee deferral form. Again, if it's Oregon Public Schools, most likely it's going to be a fee deferral form. For college across the US, it's going to be the NACAC fee waiver. Okay, so let me know which one you're going to need. And then I will sign it and then I'll scan it and then send it to you, to your email. So that way you can print it, you can sign it, and then send it to the school. Okay. Another way to figure out if they can waive the fee is by, again, going to their visits, their virtual visits. So you can definitely ask, and say, is there any way that the fee can be waived? And they might ask you questions like, do you receive free or reduced lunch? Or did you ever receive the fee waiver for that ACT or SAT? And you can say yes or no, depending on your situation. And they will say like, yes, just apply, we'll send you a code or something like that. And then again, you don't have to pay for the fee. Okay. Now, I'm actually gonna share. So there's all that information and actually goes down here where it has community colleges and their fee or if they're free. And then if you click on public universities, it tells you what their fees are here. This is from last year, so hopefully they updated. And I kind of go over some of the deadlines as well as independent nonprofit colleges or universities. So they kind of tell you as well if they're free or not, and their priority deadlines. And they have some videos as well. So there's a lot of resources in there. Is there any questions that I can answer right now? Let me see. So I'm actually going to talk a little bit right now about some instant admissions and application help for all of you to know. So from October 26th to November 6th, Oregon State University's individual help session is going to be available. So if you would like more information or you have questions about your application or you need someone to help you for Oregon State, you can set up an appointment. So make sure that you do that, and they can definitely help you. They haven't said that they will defer their fee for this. So, but again, you can do the deferral form and send it to them. So that could be helpful. The other help session is going to be for Portland State. And so this one actually is going to be very helpful because they are going to defer your application fee. So you will save $52 for them. So that's very big. So please make sure that you go and sign up in this PSU workshop. But another thing too is that you have to meet the requirements. So they're not going to put you on the list if you don't meet the requirements right now. So for admissions criteria, the class requirements is to have a 3.0 GPA and C's or higher in core classes. If you need your transcripts, let me know, and I'm really happy to send them to you. And so, and again, all others will go through a holistic review. The workshop will consist of application help and next steps. So the CCC will get your transcript, so you don't even have to worry about that. I'll send it to PSU, but make sure you sign up if you meet the requirements. And again, you will save the fee to apply for PSU. The other one. So this one, I want to make sure that you also go. So November 18 is Western Oregon University in Instant Wealth. So Western Oregon actually has already stated that they don't have a fee. So you can apply anytime. But this one, again, is just another way for you to connect with someone and hopefully make a good impression. And you don't even know how many of my students beforehand have made a good connection with someone and they have gotten money. Again, it is easier to give money to someone that you make a connection with, like you feel like you got to know them just a little bit. So, and it's not a lie, like, believe me, like you never know who you make a connection with and who is someone that is going to be like, I want to help that student. And that happened last year. Like one of our AVID students actually make a really good connection with someone in the community, and that person asked to remain anonymous, but that person actually gave the student a $10,000 scholarship for their school. And like, again, like you never know who you're going to make a connection with and who's going to help you along the way. And so it might not be always money, but they can definitely have maybe connections with jobs or internships or many different things. So you should always, always, always give your best to whoever you meet, because you never know, in the future, you might need, their help. Anywho, so again, so for Western, if you're not available for whatever reason for the instant admissions, please, you can always apply, obviously, and they don't have a fee for their application. But if you do go on November 18, they're gonna tell you right there and then, like, congratulations, you have been accepted, which is kind of cool. You don't have to wait. They tell you right there. They're not asking for any criteria, but they did told me that if you have less than a 3.0 GPA, that you can actually submit a letter of recommendation to Western, and they will actually, look at that and let you know too if you get admitted or not. So if you need a letter of recommendation from me before November 18, please send your packet so I can write you a letter, okay? So don't tell me last minute, because that's gonna be a lot. And only if you're really serious about applying to Western Oregon. Another thing they did say was that you can submit your personal statement, kind of giving them an overview of, like, what happened, and you can definitely also submit that. So those are the two things that they said that you could do. So again, Ms. Mathis has all the bit.lys and all the information on how to sign up. So please make sure you do that. And then something I found, it says, like, your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. And so definitely do something today. You don't have to do everything today, but do something that, you know, will get you to where you want to be in your future. The last thing I said that I was going to show you, it was going to be like where you look for your transcripts. So let's see. If you go to the Beaverton High School website, you're going to go to counseling. And you're going to scroll down. And again, this is the recommendation packet. I only require the two things that say require. If you need me to write you a letter, please make sure that you fill out those two forms for me to write you a letter, just so you can remember. And then there's a transcript request. So again, if you're applying through the common application for your schools, because they are in the common application, not every school is in the common application, remember that. I will submit your transcripts. But if it's like PSU or Western Oregon, if you go to these sessions, then, you know, Ms. Chen is going to provide the transcripts. But if you don't, then you need to fill this out. Make an account through Parchment and asked for your transcripts to be sent to the schools that you want them to be sent to. All right. Any other questions? So yeah,
some of them have emailed me with questions. So it's curious that now we don't have questions. Do we have questions? You've got your counselor here. Okay.
So yeah, so it says like so I had a question in regards to Western Oregon. It says that you have to submit your application beforehand. You can, well, I don't think you're able to submit it without like waiving the fee. I don't know if the application actually has a section that says like, you know, you're requesting for the fee waive. If it doesn't, just go to the session or ask Ms. Chen. I think I put her email in there. And right here. And but yeah, so I believe you can actually I don't remember what the actual question it says, but if you're not able to submit it beforehand without paying, a lot of the times they allow you to submit your application without paying the fee, and then they basically say like, you know, they send you a bill through email. So if you go to the session, again, in the back, it'll say like, you know, we will defer the fee in our end. So they'll have a way for them to do that. But like I mentioned before, Western doesn't charge regardless. They told us that they don't have a fee for students to apply. They are free. So you can apply. So I'm going to stop sharing so you can see me. Any questions, you guys, ladies and gentlemen? Maybe Ms. Mathis can actually, I don't know, tell me some of the questions that was sent to you.
Yeah, so students are concerned about the fee thing. So I'm glad you really went over that and explained the difference between a waiver and deferral and that those are possible. And then some students have had issues with FAFSA and creating an ID for their parents. So can you explain like common issues with that or mishaps with that perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the situation because it's very different. It would really depend if like maybe a student, so I just worked with a student the other day that she made an FSAD for her parent, but her parents, you know, sometimes we have situations where the parent doesn't have a valid social security number. So she put her like tax ID number, because even if a person doesn't have a social security number, they can pay taxes, and most of our families pay taxes in this country. And so she used this number, which was an error. And so now she has all these like problems trying to submit their FAFSA because, the FAFSA is a robot. And it's like, wait a minute, this number doesn't match with this name. So there's an error. And so now we're trying to figure out how to fix that. And so, so it really depends on what you did. So if you're having problems with the FSAID or with the FAFSA, like I said again, like, please reach out to me. Like, I've done FAFSAs every year, and I can help you. Don't go with someone that are like, well, I think this is what you need to do. Like, no, please, like, please email me. And like I mentioned to you before, like, if it's 6 p.m. the only time that your family's available to ask questions, like, just email me and say, can you meet at 6 p.m.? I will meet you at 6 p.m. Like, I want to help you. I want to make sure that you don't go through all these it's stressful enough doing all of this by yourself. Like, you are not alone in this. Like, Ms. Mathis and I can help you. Like, please, 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 please. I don't know how else to tell you that I can help you. I will help you. Please email me. I don't want you to go through so much more stress than you already have. Okay. Please email me and set up a time. And don't tell me like, when are you available? No, I want to know when you are available, when you have the time. I will make it work. When are you available? Tell me, can you meet this day at this time? And I most likely will say, yes, let's do this. Here's the Zoom link. Please email me, okay? I will help you. So it really depends. It depends on what they did. So I would probably need more information and more details.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I can think of right now is you mentioned the Ford scholarship that you wanted to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's this amazing scholarship that I want to make sure that all of you are aware of. And I will, add it to the AVID Instagram page. There's going to be another one that I'm also going to add that is very specific for students. So let me share my screen again. All right, do you guys see the For Family Foundation flyer? All right, awesome. So the For Family Foundation, so it's a scholarship program, and it's not related to like the Ford trucks or cars or dealerships. It's just the last name of the family that created the application, the scholarship fund. And so what is amazing about this scholarship is that they meet 90% of the need to go to college for all 4 years. And what that means is that if you are receiving your, if you're doing your FAFSA, you should be seeing, like I mentioned before, the expected family contribution in your FAFSA. So if your expected family contribution is 0 or is like maybe $500, you most likely are going to receive the Pell Grant. And what they mean here is that may not exceed $6,000. That's what they mean by the Pell Grant. Because the Pell Grant is actually like a little bit over $6,000 if your EFC is 0. But again, if you are getting the Pell Grant a certain amount, as long as it's less than $6,000, you can apply to this scholarship. Obviously, they have other requirements. You actually have to read them. I think they want a GPA of 3.0 at least. And they have the criteria. But basically, again, if you're getting only $6,000, they will match everything else. And not only for tuition, because there's some specific scholarships that are only going to be like, well, this is just for tuition, like the PSU 4 years free. No, the For Family Foundation will pay for 90% of everything, like housing, food, computer, like incidentals, like everything, fees, everything. So this is really amazing scholarship. And so We haven't had an AVID win one. We have had them like go into the interview process, because there is an interview process after you submit your application. If you become one of the ones that they want to interview, I have had students that have gone to the interview process with them, but unfortunately it hasn't panned out. But again, if you want to kind of like go over the scholarship amount, I'll, I don't know if I can send the PDF just directly like this in the chat, but it can actually give you all this information. Not only is it for undergrad, if you decide to go to graduate school as well, it actually helps you to go to graduate school. Like they will pay also, like I believe also like 90% of your graduate program. So again, this is a really, really amazing scholarship. And so I hope that if you meet the requirements, that you definitely apply for it, okay? Because it will be very good. All right, that's what the For Family Foundation is. And again, I just wanted to make sure it opens in November. So if you want to know, and the deadline is in March. So don't think like you have to rush and apply for it, okay? Just, this is one of those scholarships, well, in all scholarships, you should really put some time into it. So your essays, whatever it is that they're asking you for, you should really take the time and make your application as polished as possible. Because again, this is a lot of money if you do win it. So, okay. Questions about the For Family Foundation? So I'm reading some of the questions. Okay, good question. So I mentioned like, you know, there's a bit.ly for you to sign up for some of the instant wall for like the application help sessions. Once they know which students are gonna be going into the sessions, Ms. Chin is actually gonna send you the link directly to your email. So if you're wondering like, you know, where is the Zoom link or where do I go for the meeting, she will actually send it to you directly. So she just needs to know who's planning to go so she can get the transcripts, and then she will send you that information, okay? Okay, let's see. Okay, so the question was in regards to the FAFSA, like when do we know what's the expected family contribution or how much Pell Grant money we'll receive? So if you already submitted your FAFSA, you get an email. So again, I think the last time when I was here, I showed you all that a lot of you are actually not looking at the data that they're giving you at the end, because they do give you like a report that you should look at. It's actually in there. It tells you how much your expected family contribution is and then how much Pell Grant money you're going to receive. If you didn't catch that for whatever reason, they usually send you an email almost like immediately, or if not by the next day, saying like, thank you so much, blah, blah, for submitting your FAFSA. And then they give you information. So they actually send you an email. So if you haven't looked for that email, you should look for it. And again, it should be within that day or the next day that you submit your FAFSA that they send you that email. And it should have what your expected family contribution is. And it also will say how much Pell Grant you're eligible for if you are eligible for Pell Grant. I hope that makes sense. If you have more questions, let me know. Okay. I think Ms. Mathis submitted the like For Family Foundation link, so you guys can look at that. And again, it'll open in November, just like OSAC. And so I'm hoping that a lot of you apply to it if you're eligible for it. Okay. All right. So like if the for family, again, you have to like read the requirements. One of the question was like, what if I don't meet all the requirements for the scholarship? Um, you have to kind of check. So if it says that you can't exceed, over $6,000, then most likely that's one of the requirements. So you most likely they're not going to look at your application because they just, yeah, unfortunately. Sorry. Okay, so another question was like, if I'm not eligible for any Pell Grant money, what does that mean? So, like I mentioned before, if your family contribution is most likely more than a certain amount of money, then you're not going to get any Pell Grant. And what that means is that your family just, in the eyes of the federal government, make too much money. And so you're not going to get a lot of grants. And so what it means is that your family is expected to help you with that money for college. So yes, if you want to have more specific information about your situation, you can also email me. We can have a session.
Which, when you say your family is expected to help out, that could be in the form of like loans, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions? I was looking at my notes because I think I wrote down how much your family, if they make this much, they're not going to be eligible for Pell Grants. But you should, I mean, you find out once you do your FAFSA. I have too much notes. All right. So yeah, reach out to me if you have any questions, if you need help, if you have any doubts. If you and your gut are like, I don't think this is right, don't submit anything. Please ask questions before you submit stuff, and let me know. Did I answer all the questions that they've had emailed to you?
From what I can recall right now at 9:15 in the morning. So yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, that's all I have for all of you today. Cool. Hopefully you learned something.
Hopefully. I learned a lot. I took notes, so if they forget stuff, I'll have the answer here.
All right.
So thank you so much for your time, Ms. Perez. Everybody say bye.
Of course. Bye, everyone.
Look at all of them. Bye.
Bye, Ms. Perez. Bye.
Oh, another thing too. If you have an Aspire mentor and if you don't need one, or if you feel you have enough support, please let the poor person know. So that way they're not replying to me. Please let them know.
There's two.
What's that?
Don't expose me like that. Chill.
You answer. There's a lot of you that have Aspire mentors, not just you one.
You're projecting one.
I know.
I will. Bye. Take care.
Bye. Let them know.
Okay. All right, guys. So thanks for hanging in. Miss Perez, she has more answers sometimes than I do, obviously, because I don't help people with FAFSA every year. Or, you guys are my first. So she has more answers than I do sometimes. And so, and look, she's like begging you, please reach out to me if you need help with something. So, we're totally in your corner. I want you to do well. So you have to ask, right? If you have questions, if you're stuck somewhere, you just got to ask. So do it. She had lots of good stuff, but we've been on here for a while. So I made notes. I'm going to put some of this into an announcement on our class so that you have it as well. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about OSAC, revising our personal statements. I've given you some feedback, so look over that. I'll force you to tomorrow. And if you haven't been to an event yet for the College Info Week, please go today, tomorrow, or your last 2 days, and you've got that reflection to do by Friday. So you got stuff on your plate. And I'm going to let you go and hang out until tomorrow when I see you again. Okay. Hang out if you have questions. Bye, guys.
Miss Mathis.
What's up?
So I'm looking at my checklist for Linfield,
Mhm,
and I had to do it through the Common App because that's the only way to do it.
mhm,
And so it says that for my teacher recommendation, I put you,
mhm.
but it says that it's still like waiting for it. So I just
Okay.
wanted to remind you just in case. Like, and I don't want to put like more pressure on you, but I just maybe like to remind you.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. I needed to get through the OSAC stuff before I did the letters of rec, and I'm done. So
Yeah.
I will get that done today for you.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Mathis.
Yeah, no problem.
Have a good day.
You too.